This is Eerie Eclipse, and today we're going to be talking about animal abuse and the variations there are of it. A lot of people don't know what they do to their animals is technically animal abuse. Leaving them outside in the cold or in the heat is animal abuse. Not feeding them as often as they should is also animal abuse. But there are also people who don't think that it's wrong to hit their animals because they don't consider them to be part of the family. They think that annoying animals should just get hit for some reason just because they're there. It is not okay to hit your pets. If you don't love your animals, give them to someone who will. When you adopt a fur baby, that's your obligation to take care of them, not to abuse them. They love you unconditionally. Why shouldn't you love them the same way? More often than not, I go over to people's houses and see their animals flinching away from them, and that tells me that those animals aren't being loved. They're being hurt. I truly believe that people who hurt animals should be in jail. Now, if you accidentally step on your cat or dog's tail because they were between your legs while you were walking, that's okay, as long as you tell your animal that you're sorry. They don't know what's going on, guys. They really don't. Cats, yes, cats are little assholes. They can memorize over 100 commands, but they choose not to. Dogs, their brains are much smaller. They memorize very few things. They know where home is, they know what home smells like, they know what master smells like. That's about it. Regardless of what most people think, animals do love you unconditionally. There's nothing wrong with owning a pit bull. They are not born cat killers. They are bred that way. They are not born to fight. Again, they're bred that way. If you're mean to your animal is going to pick up aggression. If you constantly hit them or refuse to feed them, they're going to start fighting. They're going to start killing other animals, and that's on you. Do you want a loving creature in your home, or do you want one that's going to chase the cat around the block? I wholeheartedly think that people who don't love their animals 100% should not have a pet. If your pet's not considered a family member to you, don't get one. If you don't know how to take care of your pet, don't get one. If you're going to pawn it off on someone else a week later, don't get one. Because that's imprinting on an animal that they're worthless to you, especially if you get them at a young age. You love them when they're puppies, kittens, and then you just stop loving them once they get older. That's not right either. They didn't do anything to you to deserve that kind of treatment. It doesn't matter if they wake you up whining at 6 a.m. when you went to bed at 4 a.m. That doesn't mean the animal deserves to be hit or yelled at. It could be as simple as, hey, they have to go to the bathroom and they need let outside. Not everyone has a doggy door. Back to the things that people don't know are animal abuse. There are only certain kinds of foods that your cats and dogs should be allowed to have. Chicken bones are one of them. Dogs should not be allowed to have chicken, not the chicken bones, because the splinters can get caught in their throat and they could die. And there are other specific kinds of foods that they should not have because they can't digest it as well as we can. For the love and sake of your animals, look up what's okay for them to have. Don't just throw random food items down just because they're begging for it. Sharing table scraps with your animals is perfectly fine as long as it's something that they can have. You don't want to be held responsible for your dog or cat's death because you were ignorant about what they could eat. And when you get your animal a collar, make sure that collar is not too tight. Make sure you can put at least 2 fingers inside the collar. If you can't, that it's too tight, take it off your animal. Because what happens when your animal gets caught on something? There's no wiggle room in there. Animal is going to choke itself to death. No animal deserves abuse. It doesn't matter what kind of animal it is. Adopting these animals, that puts a different life in your hands. Adopting pets is like adopting children, only it's a whole lot easier to adopt an animal. You wouldn't starve your children or beat your children just because they're being annoying. Why beat your pets? They've done nothing but love you. They don't know what wrong they're doing because you haven't taught them right from wrong yet. There are hundreds, maybe thousands of animals being discarded every year because their owners are tired of trying to teach these animals what to do because they're not learning fast enough. Maybe you don't have enough patience. Their lives are literally in your hands. These animals are not wild. They were domesticated to be house pets. Throwing them out into the wild, that's you killing them. Putting these animals in the pound, they're going to get killed. Euthanizing animals, not right. Maybe if this animal has rabies or cancer, that would be slightly more acceptable. But killing healthy animals that could go to a home and be loved, you're killing them for no reason. Just because they're sitting in the pound and no one's come to get them yet, doesn't mean nobody will. And there are a lot of people out there whose resentment towards animals was because that their animal was treated better than them as a child. Animals should not be a replacement for your children. If you have children and animals, children should come first, yes, but it doesn't mean your animal should get any less love from you. You reprimand them, you teach them, and you train them like you would a child. You don't choke your child. You don't beat your child. Why would you do that to your animal? People who beat their pets belong in jail. I don't care who they are. You could be the most loving person on the planet. As soon as I see you lay a hand on your dog, cat, whatever, you're dead to me. I don't care if it was a cat that stole chicken off your plate because you didn't teach your cat right from wrong. That's your fault, not your cat's or your dog's. Animals pick up their behaviors from their owners. If your dog or cat is an annoying little shit, what does that say about you? If they're mean, that means what exactly? That you're mean too. And maybe, just maybe, hmm, that you shouldn't have a pet. That maybe you deserve to be in therapy. Why you have such issues with animals. Because your childhood traumas are not your dog's fault. They're not anyone's fault but yours and your family's. So don't take your resentment out on anyone else. People who think that dogs belong on chains and birds belong in cages have serious mental issues. Because not all dogs are killers, and not all birds bite. You really wouldn't know unless you're on the other side. Raising these animals as a child, you learn how to treat these creatures. You learn what they need, what they don't need, what they can't have. Growing up, I've raised just about every kind of animal I can think of, except the exotic ones, of course. We've had hamsters, gerbils, guinea pigs, cats, dogs, anywhere from small dogs like Chiweenies to big dogs like Great Danes. We've had them all. We rescue these creatures from families that can't take care of them. Take them in off the streets because they're cold or they're starving. And we find them proper homes. If you're able to, and you see a starving animal out on the street, take it home. Feed it. You don't necessarily have to keep it, just let that creature know it's loved. Help it find a home. The longer these animals are out on the street, the more likely they are to die, being hit by a car or starved to death, or to be attacked by other bigger animals that actually are wild. They don't know any better. They can't learn unless we teach them. Dogs growl, cats hiss. It's their nature to do that when they feel threatened. If they hiss or growl at you, that does not give you the right to hit them. or pick them up and hit them against something else. It's cruel, and again, that means you have some serious mental issues. If you're not taking proper care of your animals, I'm begging you right now. Either go see a therapist or find a better home for your animal, because you're not going to take care of it the way you should. These animals deserve love. They deserve a proper home, the same way children do. They need fed at least twice a day. Make sure they have water. And for God's sakes, bring them in when it gets too hot or cold. You wouldn't dispose of your kids the way you would your animals. So maybe start treating your pets with a little bit more respect. Because they put up with everything you do and they come back and they still decide to love you. I hope this has given you a bit more perspective on what the animals go through day to day. And I hope it helps you decide to be a better human being. Or perhaps being human is part of the problem.